a small village, there was a man named Samuel who lived with his wife and 2 children. Though they had a simple life, Samuel always worried about their future. No matter how hard he worked, his fears never left him. One day, he heard about a wise saint who could bring peace to troubled hearts. Hoping to find answers, Samuel went to the saint and shared his worries. The saint listened patiently and then said, "Your fears are just illusions. Life does not stop when one person leaves. Your family will find their way with or without you." Samuel was surprised but still unsure. The saint then made an unusual offer. "Leave everything behind and live a spiritual life. Let go of your attachments and you will find true peace." Samuel hesitated. "But what about my wife and children? They need me." The saint smiled. "You underestimate their strength. They will be fine. It is your mind that refuses to believe it." These words stayed in Samuel's mind. The next day, he returned to the saint's hermitage and attended a spiritual gathering. As he listened to the saint's teachings, he decided to stay and dedicate himself to a spiritual life. However, one thing troubled him. How would he tell his family that he was leaving forever? The saint came up with a plan. He taught Samuel how to hold his breath for long periods, making him appear lifeless. "Use this wisely," the saint advised. "Your family will believe you are gone, and you will be free." The next morning, Samuel followed his usual routine and took his family to the river for a bath. While they played in the water, he quietly held his breath and sank beneath the surface. His family panicked and searched for him, but after hours of looking, they believed he had drowned. Heartbroken, they returned home, mourning his loss. Meanwhile, Samuel emerged from the river unseen and went to the hermitage, leaving his past behind. Weeks passed, and Samuel fully devoted himself to spiritual life. But deep down, he wondered about his family. Were they struggling? Did they miss him? One day, his wife visited the saint for blessings. Hearing her voice, Samuel hid behind a pillar, eager to listen, but afraid to be seen. The saint welcomed her and said, "Daughter, we mourn the loss of my dear disciple. How are you managing?" Samuel expected her to cry, but she calmly replied, "No one can replace him, but life must go on. My children and I are doing better than before." Samuel was shocked. How could they be happy without him? The saint noticed his reaction and smiled. Later, he told Samuel, "Now do you understand? They are not weak. They learned to survive without you." But Samuel refused to believe it. He wanted to test them. Out of bitterness, he spread a rumor in the village that anyone buying food from his wife would face misfortune. The villagers, afraid of bad luck, stopped buying from her. Days passed, but to Samuel's surprise, his wife remained calm. She found new ways to support her family. His children continued their studies, and their home was still filled with laughter. Frustrated and defeated, Samuel decided to return home. Late at night, he knocked on the door. His wife's voice came from inside. "Who is it?" "It's me, Samuel." "Open the door," he whispered. There was a long silence. Then she said firmly, "This is not a time for jokes. My husband has been dead for 2 months. Whoever you are, leave. No, it's really me. I never died. I was with the saint all this time. She remained calm. Then you are no longer the man I knew. The Samuel I loved would never abandon his family like that. My children and I have built a life without him, and we will continue to do so. Please go back to where you came from. Samuel stood frozen, realizing the harsh truth. He had left thinking he was important, but life had moved on without him. With a heavy heart, he turned and walked away, finally understanding the lesson the saint had tried to teach him. Life does not stop for anyone. We may think we are very important to others, but people find ways to move forward even without us. True strength comes from resilience, not dependence. Samuel believed his family could not survive without him, but they proved that with courage and determination, they could overcome hardships. This teaches us that holding on to ego and control only brings suffering, while acceptance and humility bring peace. Instead of running away from responsibilities, we should embrace reality and understand that life always moves on.